Chamge gerindetab Kass TV ngoy tugulolei mi trait parana gitu yoga eng tetutiet nebo morning check ago noto ga mi sinalejini nyone tot ne rago tungu go boto net ko speaker nebo county nebo Nairobi BEATRICE ELACHI ago yega saga net ko baro gole magingalale kutitab chego kagiwega nguno gengalal kuti nekikuitosige ak tot ko jorwetab Daktari Joyce Laboso nekokoro governor nebo county nebo Bomet ago tinye kit nekinetkei eng kandoinatetab kwonyik kandoindet age nekoyo ingen ago noto ko boroindo nekakituye asikengalal kibagenge ak kebushi kongora polatet netesetai kitaune kit nekabwatun eng tai ago tinygei ak kit netesetai eng counties ago noto tojin. Welcome dear viewer wherever you are. This is Morning Check Kass TV and we move forward as I promised you earlier that this is gonna be a great show for us this morning as we discuss matters women in leadership and more precisely the elements that a woman has that if well tapped the countries like Kenya, Africa at large could benefit from. Much focus has been put on affirmative actions, whether women, whether persons with disabilities. But exact thing is, after this affirmative action, if those deposits of good leadership and culture from or bestowed in women cannot be cultivated and exploited or explored, would we have good leadership? After this, maybe, Mheshimiwa was reminding me that possibly after women affirmative action, the next is boy child. And this is going on. Boys have started crying. And what will happen? But before that, we have problems in our counties. The workers, the staff, have threatened to down their tools come next week if they do not get their salaries. BEATRICE ELACHI is Nairobi's city county speaker. Of course, there are technicalities about this. We know what happened. Or, of course, if you don't know, we would have a recap of what happened. But the reality is, what happens at this problem of counties stalemate with the national government? Doctor says they would not support the counties in dealing with their problems with the national government, yet they still need their salaries. And the staff at large, county staff, 47 counties next week would be brought to their knees if the staff threats are actually made real or a reality. Mheshimiwa, welcome. Asante. You've never been to this station before?
Yes.
So you are a great mugeni.
Dear.
Of course, you are the legal speaker for Nairobi County.
Yes.
But then you are not the CEO. This stalemate, the governors have not even told us exactly what they collect, their revenues. They still have taxes, but we do not know. And of course, is it that whatever they collect, it's not enough for the salaries of 1 month, July, for the employees?
True. Let me start by saying, Oya Mune, Ojamage.
Good.
Yes, I think one of the biggest challenges is that you find ourselves in this scenario because of two things. One, if you're a governor who is in your second term, you need to have known that when we close budgets and we are entering a new financial year, it is always important to know the month of July is a bit slow. In fact, maybe July and August.
After the national budget?
Yes. And it's important because they have their own local accounts. They have their own local revenue that they collect. I wish they would always remember to collect and save in their local accounts so that when it comes to July, you have salaries. Now, it also brings us to a very worrying trend, that it means if you have a national government that will never have money to give to counties, some counties can close down. So this is something also, even as much as we're saying we have our county, the name of our counties, as a Kenyan country, let us relook. Let us not fear. Let us relook at all these counties. You can remain with the county, But I believe if we come in and see how you can bring the trade regional blocks so that you have more money and share with your blocks, it will be very important. It cannot, it can be either through policy, an act of parliament, or even the amendment of the constitution. That does not mean you have killed the county. Because I know many people are very attached to their counties. But I want to tell them, as much as you're attached, and people will force you to employ even when you're not supposed to be employing, you burst your ceiling, find the current expenditure is very high. And then those urban counties where we had the county councils and all that, you know, they took the staff. People have feared to just face it head on. And those who are supposed to retire, look for money, let them retire. And it is a way you can work with the national government for that.
When you say look for money, sorry to cut you short.
Yes.
Because I thought matters retirement is a system planned, not something like you would have to put to go and look for money, because every staff, every employee, always there is a retirement. That's why we have a retirement benefits authority.
I know.
There's a deduction for retirement.
We deduct them, but
yes.
I want to be very
when
honest.
time comes for me to retire, I don't have my money.
You don't have your money.
Where did it go?
Exactly. And that is the biggest, I will tell you, ask all those counties. You see, they have pushed, they now say they have a pension county scheme. But I know most of them are looking at it as an SSF. They want to use it to maybe build things. So whoever will run that kitty. And that's why for me, sometimes I always say, for example, the medical fraternity, either we think and give them a commission that will deal with their human resource issues and all that, or we bring them back to the national government and the county governments remain with the issue of infrastructure and all that, so that you don't have these strikes of nurses, you don't have these strikes of doctors, and quality. I'm telling you, Nicholas, quality is killing Kenyans. Quality of doctors and nurses in this country.
Is it doctors and nurses or all the services in the country?
All the services. And I know it is an atomic bomb that we did in 20 years of our education.
You get to
where
the
we became greedy, and then we decided we'll take our children to private schools, we will grill. So you come, and then you have an A, which was not supposed to be your A. A child who is in Marakwet or in Northeastern who has a C cannot join Alliance, but that child has an A. That C, the environment he or she has gone through
is as good as an A.
Is as good as an A through merit. I think we lost it there. And in every sector, that is why we have all these challenges. So as a country, let us relook at our education. Let us be very strict with this education system. Let us not joke, because that is where now you can't believe. I don't want to say the hospital. But you know, I walked into a hospital and a family was telling me, we walked in, the husband, I walked in with my wife. We were to remove fibroids. And it's like they have cut the intestine of my wife.
Instead of...
Now she's in ICU, and the hospital is telling this patient, you're supposed to pay 3 million.
After
you can imagine I screamed. You can imagine what I did. I said, how? How can you do this to them? And then you ask them for money. Another one, you go, do you know you're seated? They will Google.
An expert, supposedly.
That is why in Joyce's burial, did you listen to Bishop? He cried and said, you know, bring us more Cuban doctors. They listen.
They know what they do.
They write before they tell you what you're supposed to be prescribed as your drugs. For us, you walk in a hospital and you tell them, I walked on the counter, I picked this. They go, they do all the tests, and then they come back and tell you, by the way, you can continue using what you were using, and you are going. Then you decide, hey, let me run to another one. Now that is me. I'm saying me as a person. Walked into a hospital, stayed there until midnight. I told them I have this chest problem. They looked at me, and you know, the doctor laughed in the end. I asked him, why are you laughing? By the way, I'm not feeling well.
I left on a
there,
tour.
went to another hospital.
This is midnight.
Midnight. I arrived there I told the doctor, now I am coming to hospital. Please, all I need is a chest scan. When I stood on that chest scan, I fainted. I knew myself at 2 p.m. the next day. That is how you can easily go.
Somebody has just laughed.
Yes, easily go in Kenya today on medical.
Mheshimiwa, I know it's pathetic to think of the honest and dishonest questions in the whole country, Kenya.
Yes.
But back to the county CEOs.
Yes.
Do we have blind CEOs who cannot plan for tomorrow, whose single month's salary would be a problem to the entire system?
I will not say blind CEOs. The biggest challenge the CEOs face is the teams. The teams. These political positions, you want to please everyone. You try to please, and then you find yourself with a team that will not deliver or will not advise you properly. Fine, we have some who also do not listen to advice.
Arrogance.
Arrogance. You have a good team, but you're not listening. They are telling you this cannot work. But you are pushing because politically you want to please.
To be right.
To be right, but in a wrong way, because you won't have a legacy. So me, I'm pleading with the CEOs. Just ask yourself, what will be my legacy? Especially the second-term governors. Please just be straight. Right now, you have nothing to lose.
The fathers who have known for the last 7 years that we always have a question of Korogoro somewhere in July.
Yes. Don't plead and be strict. You are on your second term, it is your legacy. That is why the president is as strict as he is. I know many people are wondering, is this the same president? But you know, when we used to campaign, I used to tell Kenyans, you will be shocked on what you will see on the president, because everything was so disappointing on him. And he would look and feel very frustrated that he would want to see us move Kenya. But at the same time, the team, look at the DPP, good, but the team. Look at the DCI, good, but your team. So until we agree that we can give them an opportunity and strengthen those officers, that the management team, you can deploy them elsewhere and get a new team that can understand your vision. That is the only way you can tackle all these problems that we are seeing. Even the president, he needs to just be bold enough and say, look, I have walked people, and he's bold nowadays, and I want to thank him. Today he goes and checks his projects, because he knew, oh, you people, you are jokers. But you need to ask yourself, why would I make my president to come and check my project?
Mheshimiwa, when we actually promulgated our constitution, 2010, we lauded it and said it was better than the Americans. We had devolution. The U.S. government, the U.S. as a state, as devolution in the form of their county governments.
Yes.
In the name of states.
Yes.
And every state almost run autonomously. They have their revenues.
Yes, they are federal states.
They are federal states.
Yes.
And now when we come to the country, Kenya, we have counties. They are also able to collect their revenues.
Yeah.
But the question is, they do not declare what they collect. You've been in Nairobi. What is the problem? Why don't we have counties say, okay, right, we expected to have a budget of 15 million, 15 billion. But for us to meet our full budget for the year, we would want to have, for instance, 6 billion from the national government. Yes. This is the much we have, and this could run our system for maybe 6 months.
Yeah, and that is what, as women, we are saying. We have proposals we will present to BBI tomorrow. Tomorrow
you're walking into the BBI's office, or rather walks to your office?
We will walk to KICC to present. And one of the proposals we have put is that the Auditor General, in the month of April, must come and tell us How much have we spent in projects?
Every month?
Not every month.
Yes.
Is it just the way you
every
do?
April.
Every April, in a joint sitting of National Assembly and Senate, he walks into Parliament, he gives a record, and at that time, he also presents the audited accounts that are supposed to be used to share revenue. So that we stop this conflict we've had with Senate and the National Assembly, that we are using these accounts and this account. But also, we need Treasury at that time to tell us, now you're coming to June. How much has, for example, the Ministry of Health spent? The money you gave them was 80 billion. How much have they spent and how much have they not spent? So that you know when you're going to give them this, there is some money that has been left. Yeah? I know our money is revenue collected and spent, but you know they are...
Hand-to-mouth kind of living?
Yes, but you have written down this is what they were supposed to get. So you just say, the same way with county governments. We want them, at that time, the Auditor General, the county governments also, in Treasury will say we gave county governments, we were supposed to give them 336 billion. No, we have given them 226. We are remaining with their money, this. And these are the counties where we've remained with money. And these counties also have not spent their money. That is why, because when you hear Treasury holding county money, it means they gave you some money and you did not spend.
But Mheshimiwa, when we talk this again, it reminds us as to whether the Auditor General has the capacity to make sure they audit up-to-date accounts, because the question has always been, county government says we want revenues of this amount for the last year's audit accounts, but you will realize the Auditor General would say they have not audited to 2017.
Yes, and that is what we are saying, strengthen that office to cure this thing of saying we've not audited. So why are you spending money and you've not audited even what you gave? In fact, we are saying in the procurement process, which is not an amendment of a constitution, it's an amendment you can put in the PFM Act. As women, we are saying, when you are given a project, 5 billion, there's the money for starting. Go and start your project. When you come,
the start off,
you must get a certificate from the ministry, Treasury, and Central Bank, showing indeed you have started a project and indeed you have reached where the money was supposed, so you are allowed to get your next batch of money. Because look at all the projects now look at the projects where my Honorable Rotich is put into a very awkward situation because of not him. Because you released money according to how the law is, but the contractor did not do what is right. And then Treasury didn't have also mechanism of saying, before we give the next, can we go and check? Has he started?
Double check what
has he put in? I know they will say that is not our work. It is their work. That is why now they are in all these problems.
The responsibility, extension of
because you're the one giving out the public resources. So as women, we are saying let us cure again, so that this thing of people in procurement just being caught and taken to, you see families wondering now, I just did, maybe it was not my wish. The other thing we are saying in that proposal is that digitize. I know still we are not, but it is much better, digitize. Let people tender on the portal. That if I reach somewhere and I'm asked a question and I don't have, you are blocked. Until you put in what they're asking, you move to the way we do our visas. You can't go to the next step before. Digitize. Then Kenyans will know why Nicholas has been given this tender. Is either, even if it is high, it's because maybe you have more quality. Yeah, because some will, they always just say the lowest bidder. Then when you go on the ground, that lowest bidder is doing zero because you didn't have capacity, but you knew the money to put so that you, so we will, it will look, and you are able to convince people why you gave this company, and the companies will try to remove human touch on all these things.
Well, this could be away from what we purpose to focus on this morning. The question has always come, why would it be that DCI, DPP, and other agencies investigating about corruption, why would they go for the minister or the government officials who received kickback Yet, they are aware that maybe sometimes the amount paid has not been paid beyond the tender process was taken care of. But now, the contractor, for instance, chose to give back kickback, yet they have not started off their work. They have, of course, they might have started off, but the quality is not what is given. Where are the people who check standards?
That's what we are saying.
Yes.
We don't have. So people have taken advantage. You find projects just because they know we will give you this money for a start. So for example, we will give you 2 to 3 billion. That is just a start off. Now, if you don't have anybody monitoring what you're doing, you see, for example, the president right now is monitoring that port of Lake Victoria. Mm-hmm. People are wondering, why has he gone there 5 times? It's because he's monitoring.
But the president is not the expertise.
Good. He has realized, if I don't, the timelines I have put, which is wrong. That's why I was saying, we have put him in a situation where, for him to have a legacy, he has to push himself now.
He has to be everything. He has to be an engineer. Why he's not supposed to be an engineer?
Which is very unfortunate. But if he doesn't do that also, he will not see that project. Yet he knows if that project works, the whole of East Africa, who benefits? It's Kenya. You have goods now going to Burundi through Entebbe, where it's now when this standard gauge railway can even make more sense because goods will go straight to Kisumu. And then from the other side, the trucks do what? Pick their goods and move to Kinshasa and the other places. And that's why he's there. Every time he's around that region, he stops there just to, and it shows how, again, and we have an attitude, Nicholas, as Kenyans, which we need to change. That is why Rwanda is moving very fast, because women who work in Rwanda are there, they are realizing our country was going. We are on a peace mission, but we are also to ensure our people, our country goes back to where people would ever respect it. Now, Kagame enjoys this because of the team he has as women. And I always tell people, fine, as Kenya, we cannot compare ourselves so much with Rwanda, because remember Rwanda,
they had an experience.
They had an experience of genocide, and more men were killed. Fine, that is why you see more women, 50%, are working. But they have shown another example, that when women are in positions...
We're going to talk about that in the next forecast of our women.
Yes. Things move.
All it there, all it there.
Move.
And we check what women are saying. Thank you. This is Mheshimiwa BEATRICE ELACHI, the Speaker, County Assembly, Nairobi City County. And we are forecasting, of course, we forecast on what's happening on our counties as our workers threatens to down their tools come next week if they do not receive their July salaries. But then, yet again, Mheshimiwa is reminding me that she had a song she would have sung during Daktari Joyce Laboso's burial, but she could not get that opportunity, and she
got one. We got an opportunity to sing one.
But you had some song.
We had 2.
Please hold it there. We would sing when we are almost
done.
The tail end of this.
We will close it with that.
Yes, maybe then I see whether you are valid. You have a good voice. That your vocals can be recruited for some choir.
I have a cold, but I will for Joyce. I will make sure.
What do you sing? Soprano or alto?
Alto mostly.
Hopefully the song is not difficult for me.
No, it's not. It's not.
Lest I make some voices here that are that will make the station be closed just because of my
no, I also have a cold,
voices.
So don't worry.
So we will be similar.
We'll be similar in terms of voice.
Okay, music is an organized voice.
Yes.
Maybe even with colds, organized voices will be sweeter. Coming back after this short break.